Good morning, it's Molly here at Ponder and Ply. I know it's been a while, I've been so busy, but I finally got up early this morning to jump in front of the camera. It's Thursday morning and I have got the day off work. So I took the day off so I can head over to the knitting and stitching show in Ali Pali, and I'm so excited to go. This is my weekday mug. When I have to go to work during the week, I know you guys know already, I work full time to something entirely not creative or knitting related. I always make a coffee in this cup in the morning to cheer me up before I'm off for a long day at work. So that's why I've got this one out today. It's quite funny, my last mug had a pussy on it and so does this one. So part of the reason I haven't actually recorded a podcast is my mojo was really low. I was really struggling to be interested in knitting at all really. I got back from the bike and I was super tired, and then I've had so many things going on. I have been working on things in the background. I've written down loads of lists on things I want to talk about. I've got loads of really good ideas for you guys. Well, I think they're really good ideas, you can be the judge of that. But yeah, I just struggled to get much knitting done, and if you don't have that much knitting content, you don't really want, there's not really any point me getting in front of the camera because that's what you guys want to see. So this video is actually about my top 5 on my queue on Ravelry. As part of a sort of an attempt to get my mojo back up and running, I reorganised my Ravelry queue and I had a look at what I wanted to make, and it's actually got me thinking, and now I'm quite excited again. Combination of that, and I sorted out my wardrobe recently. I got rid of a lot of clothes and gave them to charity, which has given me a real idea of where I want to go and what kind of things I want to style, and there will in the future be some videos on sort of fitting in with the trends and knitting things that are like in fashion, or using the knits that you already have to dress them up to current trends. Something that I find quite interesting and I enjoy. You may have also spotted I've got a few pictures up on my Instagram of me out and about in my outfits, and those are inspired by things that I've sort of read or fashion blogs that I follow. So I guess it's time for me to crack on then. I've picked the top 5 of my Ravelry queue. That's really hard to say, Ravelry queue. I feel like I'm going to choke on my words. Yes, okay, fine. It's not actually in the top 5 of my Ravelry queue. Oh, it's horrible. I hate trying to say it. It's not my top 5 anymore because I actually started one of them last night. I started the number 1 last night. But anyway, I'll talk to you about that in a second. Let's get started. So the number 1 in my Ravelry queue is Oshun by Xtina with Wolves, or Christina Danae. She's Xtina with Wolves on Instagram, and Christina Danae is her actual name. So you may have seen this jumper pattern. It's really gorgeous. I'm going to pop a picture in for you so you can see. It's generally done in pastels. I know the sample was done in a very light blue. I've seen cream versions, and I think those are really gorgeous, but I really wanted a statement piece. So I had a little bit of a rummage through my stash, and I've come up with a colour that I think is going to look amazing. I love this colour. So when I said I rearranged my wardrobe, part of the idea was to strip out lots of stuff. What I really want is some really solid basics, really classic shapes, plain colours, block colours, a few lots of statement pieces. I've got like a jacket I found in a charity shop that's really bold, but sort of pick really classically lined simple outfits, and then have one statement piece. And being a knitter, my statement pieces of course 9 times out of 10 going to be my jumpers or my knitwear. So I really wanted a block jumper in hot pink. Now this one was perfect because it's not too busy, but it does have some texture, and I absolutely love texture. So actually let me just show you how far I've got. it actually looks a little bit like a hat right now. The needles I'm using, the cable's really small, so all the stitches are bumped up. I promise it's bigger than this. I think I'm making a size 3. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a size 3. When I looked at the instructions on picking sizes, I'm nearly always a size 3, but I was actually between, so she recommended something like 4 to 6 inches of positive ease, and I think the size 2 was only 2 inches and the size 3 was 8 inches. So in that situation you kind of have a couple options. You can either opt to go smaller and then just go up on a needle size to give yourself the extra bit of room. You can opt to go bigger and go slightly smaller in the needle size and make it a little bit tighter, or you can just decide to do slightly different positive ease, and that is essentially what I went with. I chose the bigger size. I think, like I said, I think that was size 3, and I tried, well, I didn't try, I've been doing gauge swatches for a really long time. I really have been swatching. I never used to, and then I got into the habit because my knit is quite loose and it generally, I don't match up with the needle and the pattern, and I was making things that are a little bit too big for me. So generally I do swatch. This time I just want to get started. Actually, I just want to get started because I have a design on my needles, you may have seen from my stories on Instagram, and I was playing a very tight game of yarn chicken and I lost. And I ordered some more yarn from Love Knitting, and then they sent me an email saying that they'd actually sold out and it was their mistake and they won't have any in stock for about 2 weeks. And to say that I am heartbroken, I can't even tell you. I wanted to have it finished actually by tomorrow, and I've still got a substantial portion of it left with no yarn. Without giving too much away, there's some colour blocking in it, so I ran out of one particular yarn and I need that yarn in order to finish the rest of it. Anyway, so I needed a project to vent out my frustrations and to keep my fingers busy while I'm waiting to finish off my design. So I started this last night. This is probably really going to blow out. Let me see if I can get it closer to the camera. You can see that quite well, I think. The texture is amazing. I really, really love this so far. I love the colour. I think it's going to look amazing. I've had some fabric to make a navy corduroy skirt. I'm a little bit obsessed with corduroy at the moment. And I think this would go amazing with it. And I say I have the fabric to make a navy corduroy, so I literally ordered this back in January and I still haven't made it. I find I generally do a lot of knitting or a lot of sewing and not both, and not a bit of both. This year I wanted to make one sewing project a month and I literally haven't finished one single thing. I've got lots of things cut out, I've started things, but I haven't actually, or maybe I finished one skirt back at the beginning of the year. That grey one might have been from this year, I don't remember, but I haven't, and I feel so much fabric. But the thing is, I'm better at knitting than I am at sewing. My sewing skills are okay, and they're only going to get better if I actually practice, but I haven't been practicing. Anyway, so that's number 1 on my Ravelry queue, which is actually now joining my projects page, but it's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to that block colour. I think it's really going to stand out. I suspect it's going to be quite quick knit. I do, as you saw from my whips video, I have lots of things that I haven't finished yet, but I just wanted something fresh. I'm not a monogamous knitter. I like to have things on the go at the time, and I wanted something exciting to cast on. The one thing that will slow me down is I've actually just been notified that I was selected for Jessie May's new test knit, the sheer V. I had my eye on this pattern when she teased it months ago, so I'm quite excited to test for her again. And so watch this space, you'll be seeing one of those in the next 6 weeks, because that's how long I've got to make it. I haven't even ordered the yarn yet. Okay, so now we're on to number 2, which is actually now number 1 in my Ravelry queue. So I'm absolutely going to butcher this name. Astragal? I'll leave the details for it below, and I'm obviously going to stick some pictures in so that you can see what I'm talking about. This is from PomPom, and the designer is Ainur. I've had to write down her name because I really can't see it and I'm really sorry. I'm pretty sure that she is the designer behind Mummy's Teddy Bear on Instagram. She's really super talented. Her name is Ainur Berkimbayera, I hope. I'm really sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. But her design is in PomPom Mag. She seems like an absolutely lovely lady. I follow her on Instagram and she's always has very interesting topics and interesting designs. So I'm really excited about this one. I'm especially excited because the yarn that I've selected to use for it is actually prize yarn. Sorry. So a while back I actually won Love Knitting do a monthly prize draw for the photos that they really like, and I won one of their one of these. So the photo that won was one that I'll just put up now. It's my Park and Knit Ruffalo. So I got to choose my prize. I had a choice between 10 balls of Paintbox yarn or 6 balls of Debbie Bliss's Cashmerino. I went with 6 balls of Debbie Bliss's Cashmerino, despite the fact that my number one that I just showed you is acrylic yarn, but I am just using it from a stash. I'm trying to move away from acrylic yarn, mostly because of the environment, the plastics in it, but sometimes it can't be avoided. But when I had the choice, I went for Cashmerino. So that's the colour that I went for. And it's duck egg blue. I think duck egg blue looks beautiful on everyone. It's a really gorgeous colour. It's really soft, and I think it's going to go really perfectly with this pattern. Like the other pattern, I like that it's relatively plain but has some really interesting details. It's got that beautiful pattern on the yoke. I love the fact that the ribbing isn't straight. It sort of comes up in peaks, both along the bottom and on the arms. I'm not sure whether I have quite enough yarn. I should have yarn for most of it, and then I might have to order some more, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm really excited to make that one. I'm hoping that maybe I can start that one before the end of the year. I don't know if you use it, but actually I tried to set some deadlines on my Ravelry, so you can select patterns that you want to have made by a certain time, and I selected my top 3 and said I wanted them done by Christmas. That's an absolutely impossible task. I don't think that's going to happen because I've got lots of whips anyway. Fine, I've started the pink one, that one probably will be done. But then if I think I'm starting this one, and you'll see in a second the next one that I think that I want to have done by Christmas, although I know I'd get loads of wear out of it. As well as the test knit for Jessie, as well as finishing my design once it comes out, and I have lots of other designs in my head that I want to start. And we are already approaching the middle of October. No, not going to happen. But I put the deadlines there as something to focus towards. One thing I really want to do, and part of the reason I'm doing this video, is to start working my way through my Ravelry queue and being really fussy about what makes it into my Ravelry queue. When I started Ponder and Ply, I actually made a new Ravelry account. I have an old one that's about 8 years old. I was on Ravelry for a really long time. And that queue was like hundreds and hundreds, if not 1,000 projects long, with suggestions on what I want to make. And to be honest, my style changes so frequently that I really need to stay on top of it. So at the moment it's only 2 pages, and I keep on going through and checking everything in there as stuff that I want to make. A lot of it is stuff I already have bought the patterns for, so I will make at some point. And I've been moving it around to make sure that the stuff at the top is the stuff that I really want to make. So the top 5 to 10 are exactly what I want to make all the time. The rest are in a slightly bit of a mess of an order, but I can move them around as and when I see fit. I find that really helpful, and I want to start working my way through, yeah, and only really picking my favourite things to be added. Okay, number 3. So number 3 is Woodwardia. It's another PomPom Magazine pattern. This one I think was from the spring issue. It was on the front cover in a gorgeous pink. It's got the roll neck and a really beautiful detail in the raglan. I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. I think it is in worsted weight. And I don't think I would have got as much wear out of it in spring as I would in winter. So I really would like to make one. I don't have any yarn in my stash for this. I actually don't have that much worsted weight in my stash at all. So this is something that I would like to purchase. If sort of at the moment in my head, I think it'd be gorgeous in a white, like a really nice snow white. I know it's a bit dangerous with knitted jumpers, and if I got a stain on it I'd be devastated, but I think it would just be so pretty in the roll. I know lots of people want to make it without the roll neck, but I love a roll neck. And when I was sorting out my wardrobe recently, as I mentioned already, I realised there's a gap for certain things, and one of those things is plain jumpers that you can chuck on over the top of things that are really warm. So that's on my number 3. Actually today I might go, when I'm at the knitting and stitching show, I might keep an eye out for some of those, for yarn that I can use. So what my plan this year, now I understand things a lot better. I didn't go last year. It actually always falls on my birthday weekend. My birthday's this Saturday, and the event runs from Thursday to Sunday. So I've had to take a day off work so that I can go, because we're going away for my birthday. My boyfriend's treating me and taking me to Jersey for some hiking. I'm very excited. So basically, yeah, what was I saying? This year I would really like to write a list of all the things that are sort of top of my queue, what I really want to make, including the test knit and then my top 5, and then only purchasing yarn unless it's really special and I have to for those projects. So if I go with a list with weights and colours and an idea of exactly what I want, hopefully I can target my shopping. I was going to go and try not to shop and buy anything, but let's be honest, that's not going to happen. Anyway, please excuse my disgusting nails. My nails are getting really long and I had to cut them down because they get on my nerves, and with a lot of the training that I do they just snap, so I just cut them down, but I've left all my chip nail varnish on and they look disgusting. Anyway, so number 4 is the Prima Donna Turban by Amy Appel. I think that's how you pronounce her surname. From Poison Girls. I said that weird, but she doesn't have an I in it and lots of R's, so I don't know whether you're meant to say it like girls or girls. Anyway, this is a pattern that I had in my Make 9 for this year. My Make 9 has not gone to plan. I think I've made 1 or 2 things from it so far. I'm definitely not going to make all of them. Some of them I don't even want to make anymore. And some of them I just find it really hard to commit to 9 things in December, January time, and then lots of new patterns come out, your style changes, the weather changes, fashion changes, and I find it really hard to stick to what I've chosen. So I don't think I'm even going to bother to do it this year, but that is definitely something I still want to make. So it's a little turban pattern, it's made from mohair, it's gorgeous and fluffy, and so I used to dress a very vintage, sort of 40s, 50s, I loved it, I dressed like that all the time, and I've toned that down massively. I don't really dress that way at all anymore. I've got a few pieces, but I still make it look very modern, and I really love the classic shapes of those times, so dresses, the wiggle dress, the sort of full circle skirts, and I do love all of that. I just don't wear them very often. But I still think I'd get a lot of wear out of this turban. Funnily enough, I spend most of my time garment knitting, but the things I wear most frequently are actually accessories. So I've got a pattern that's actually one of my own. It's a free pattern on my Ravelry called the Drew scarf. It's just a sort of textured scarf, long scarf pattern, and I literally wear it all the time once it gets cold. I've made it in like an army green, and it's delicious, and it goes with everything I wear, so I just chuck it on top. So yes, it's an accessory pattern I really like to make. I think it'd just be great when your hair's a bit messy and you want to chuck it on top. Something different to a woolly hat. I wear my woolly hats a lot. I've got one myself that's the Nancy one that I've shown on here before, and I've got another one by Knit Diaries. Don't remember the name of the pattern, but it's one I test knitted at the beginning of the year or end of last year, and it's just so cozy and I live in them, so it'd be nice to have something a bit dressier than a hat. Yeah, so I'm really quite excited about making that turban. Amy has sort of paired or partnered up with Beehive Yarns. As you know from some of my other podcasts, I'm absolutely obsessed with her and her yarn. So I think I will purchase mohair from her shop. I've got my eye on 2 potential colours. I think pink would be a really good shout. There are 2 pinks. There's like a neon pink, which is gorgeous. I'm just debating whether I'd wear it enough. I know I've got that neon pink jumper now, so maybe I should do something different. And then there's like a pastel pink, which is really beautiful and delicate. It's kind of like a ballerina pink. which I was thinking about. And then somewhere in the back of my head, but I was like, but what about an electric blue? Or the equivalent in green, like an emerald green. I can't decide. But I don't really have time to make it right now. So that may be a spring knit rather than this side of the year. It's just high up on my list because I'd really like to make it. I suspect it won't take very long, and I suspect I'd also get a lot of wear out of it. The last one I want to talk to you about is the Northeasterly Blanket by Melissa Alexander-Loomis. You probably have seen this. I can't remember who. I saw it on a podcast. I just don't remember which one. I watched so many. And it's so beautiful. And I thought it'd be a really good project for all my scraps. No, that's not true. I've never finished a blanket before. I've got bits here and there of squares that I started when I first started knitting, and I've never really picked it up again. But I've now started to gather a lot of scraps, especially a fingering weight. I never used to use fingering weight very often, and now I use it quite frequently. So what I would really love is to start making start making one of these blankets and just sort of have it on the go constantly for the next couple of years. Couple of years, that's really scary to me. I like finishing things quite quickly, but I think it's important too to have a project that you have ongoing and you can see pieces of your work in it. That pleases me so much. I've always wanted to make a blanket that has all of the scraps from all of my different projects in it. I'm having a think about how I can do this, because obviously my projects have varying weights of yarn. I was wondering whether to do because basically I think how you make this pattern is you do them in strips and then you sort of join on the strips. So I wonder whether I should do different strips of different weights and have a really textured bubbly yarn, or try and use different size needles to get the same sort of size. Sorry, I'm sniffling. I actually have a bit of a cold. I can blame my boyfriend for this. He came home with a cold and now I have one. I'm okay, but I'm just a bit nasally and probably don't sound like I'm talking through my nose a little bit. Okay, so before I wrap this up, I just wanted to talk to you about my 2 dream patterns on my list. So these are patterns that I really, 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 really want to make, but I can't right now for one reason or another. The first one I want to talk to you about is the Cardi by Pickles. I can't tell you, it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. I wouldn't call it a cardi, it's kind of like a jacket. I want it in a really bright statement colour. I think the texture is amazing. I think it would be a really fun knit. I think it would be really warm and snuggly and go amazing over the top of things. The reason I can't make it right now is the yarn that they suggest is their own yarn is very expensive. It's very expensive considering the amount you need to make the jacket or the cardi. And I can't really make that commitment right now. On top of that, their colour range isn't exactly what I want. So it's really nice, but it's not perfect, and to justify spending that kind of money, I really want to find the perfect colour for that jacket so that I'd get a lot of wear out of it. So if you guys know any subs for that yarn, you can find the pattern in my Ravelry queue. As on with everything, I'm on Ponder and Ply on Ravelry. I would really appreciate it because I absolutely love it and I would wear it all the time. I'm massive about textures. I love layering things. Like the other day I wore like these sort of faux leather leggings with my mohair fluffy framework bralette by Jessie May with a cotton shirt on over the top, and I just love that layer of different textures. So I think that this would be amazing and it would go with everything in my wardrobe, and I'd wear it like a coat and I wouldn't take it off. Probably get really smelly, but I really want it. Yes, so if you have any subs for me, it would be greatly appreciated. The other one in this list is Wilderness by Martin Storey. Again, texture. Oh my god, this jumper is delicious. All those little bubbles and it's fitted, and the colour that it's been made in for the sample is, oh my goodness, delicious. Since I've been colouring my hair ginger, which actually really needs doing right now. Yes, I'm not a natural ginger, I'm sorry. Sorry to disappoint. I have found that green is really my colour. I'm very pale I've got, well, Irish family, not entirely, I'm half Irish, so generally green is, I know it's stereotypical, but does actually, I think, complement my skin tone. I'm quite pale and my now newly ginger hair. So I would love to make this in green. So the reason I can't make this one at the moment is I can't find the pattern. I think on Ravelry it says it's from a magazine. To be entirely honest with you, I haven't looked very much because I've got so much in my queue. I haven't really done some proper digging and investigating to see if I can find this pattern. But it's not an easy case of sort of like one click on Ravelry and you've got it in your library. So that's one I'm trying to track down. If you guys know and can save me the time of investigating and trying to find this, I will love you forever. But for now, it's sort of sitting in the back seat because I don't have access to the pattern. But at some point, I would love to make it because, again, the texture is just fantastic. Okay, so rather than babble on any longer, I'm going to finish getting ready. Ah, no, wait. I have one more thing to say. What am I wearing? Oh, you can't see that well. I'll pop a picture up here. So this is my, oh goodness, what is it called? This one never stays in my head. What is it called? Extreme, it's on the tip of your tongue. Anyway, it's another pom-pom pattern. So this was from, I believe it was Christmas, the winter, was it winter? Winter last year? I think it was the first magazine from PomPom I ever got. I actually saw them on Fruity Knitting and couldn't believe I hadn't heard of them yet, and ordered a annual subscription with this one extra. So I've still got one more left of my subscription before I order another one. I'm definitely going to. They're absolutely gorgeous. I love PomPom. However, this is by Caitlin Hunter, and it's called, I don't know what it's called. I cannot think for the life of me what it's called. I even wrote about it recently on Instagram because I sort of did a styling with this and a corduroy skirt that I made in similar colours because it's very in fashion to wear the same colour in different shades across your outfit. Just FYI. In case you wanted to know, in case you cared. And anyway, I don't remember what it's called. I'll obviously write down below what it's called once I've gone and checked on my phone. And you can find all the details of the project on my Ravelry page. You may be able to see the neckline is not the neatest. I actually haven't blocked it yet, which is mainly why, but I found it a little bit difficult when I picked up stitches and then to do the colour work on picked up stitches, which are already like not super even. I found like there was less stitches to pick up than I think there should have been. Like I wish I was picking up more stitches and then it wouldn't have looked quite so gappy. It's pulling a little bit. The arms look fine, it's just on the neckband, which is why I think it's from picking up stitches. Generally my colour work isn't too bad, although I don't do it very often. Yeah, anyway, I need to block it, but I've worn it loads and I don't really care anyway. I'm really shit at finishing things, like darning in the ends or blocking things. It may take a while. Unless I do it straight away, it probably won't happen. Anyway, on that lovely positive note, I'm going to get ready because I'm going to the knitting and stitching show. I'll try and make a video super soon, and I'm losing my voice. I'll try and make a video super soon of anything that I pick up while I'm there. I'll try and take a few snaps to stay engaged with my Instagram stories and you'll be able to see what I get up to. Thank you so much for listening to me and I hope to see you next time for my next video.